Hey guys, welcome to another new Night Owl video. Today on the show, on Cult Movie Tuesdays, we are featuring a relatively new favorite for me, although this movie's been around since 1986, and that is Cobra, starring Sylvester Stallone. So today I'm going to be talking about this film and give you my thoughts on it, some production notes and things like that, and yeah, just do a little bit of a deeper dive on this cult classic. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who's subscribed recently and a happy new year to everybody. I am now at 81 followers. I think I was like 70 something before Christmas, so I'm really happy. I think honestly my next milestone is going to be 100. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'll have to do something special for my 100 subscribers video. But anyway, today we're talking about this film, Cobra. This is from 1986. It's an action film. It's also a bit of or not a bit of, it is also a police drama. This was directed by George P. Cosmatos, who anybody who's watched my channel since I started it in April knows that I'm a big fan of Panos Cosmatos, and this is his dad, George, who passed away in 2005 and made a whole bunch of really cool movies in his career, including this one, as well as Rambo 2, starring Sylvester Stallone, Leviathan, and Tombstone. I've seen Rambo 2 and Leviathan. I've seen Tombstone, but only once. I can't really remember it, so I feel like that's one I'm probably going to revisit not too long from now. This is based on a novel by a person named Paula Gosling, and the novel is called Fair Game. And this, in turn, the script was written by Sylvester Stallone himself. So, as you can probably guess, this film stars Sylvester Stallone as Marion Cobretti, aka Cobra. Do I need to tell you other movies that Sylvester Stallone's been in? Probably not, but obviously most famously for his roles in Rambo, as well as Rocky before that. This also stars Bridgette Neilson, who was Sylvester Stallone's wife at the time, and an amazing actor unto herself. She plays the character of Ingrid. Bridgette Neilson, I always think of her as Red Sonja, which if you haven't seen that movie, I would recommend that if you like sword and sorcery type movies, 80s movies. And she was also a model before she became an actress. I don't know a lot of her other movies, but definitely check out Red Sonja. And this also stars a very creepy Brian Thompson as the Night Slasher. And Brian Thompson had roles in the first Terminator, Fright Night 2, and he was in a ton, and I mean a ton of TV shows, including Star Trek Next Generation and Star Trek Deep Space Nine, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll give you the synopsis next. Los Angeles policeman Lieutenant Marion Cobra Cobretti, played by Sylvester Stallone, finds himself at the center of a spate of murders carried out by a secret society called New Order Killers, who select weak members of society for extermination. As the murder rate rises, Cobra takes model Ingrid, played by Bridgette Neilson, into protective custody after she witnesses the New Order's leader in action. As Cobra falls for Ingrid, they find shelter in a small town, but must soon fight for survival. This movie is so... I only saw this movie for the first time in my life. I think it was probably about 2 years ago. It could have been last year. I don't really remember. I found a VHS copy of it, bought it, watched it, loved it, and then I found this DVD copy a little while later. Yeah, I think I found this DVD like last spring maybe, or last winter, and it was the year before that I saw it on VHS, so I did do some upgrading to this snapper case DVD. So apparently, Sylvester Stallone was originally going to be the lead role in the film Beverly Hills Cop. I did not know that until I started doing my research. He wrote a treatment for Beverly Hills Cop during that film's pre-production, and the film company that was doing it did not like it, and they also replaced him with Eddie Murphy. And of course, that's the rest of that is history. Sylvester Stallone then took the ideas for his treatment for Beverly Hills Cop and sort of filtered it into this film. And I think maybe it was around that time he was reading Fair Game and he kind of like merged the two. And so I don't think this is a faithful adaptation to the book. I think it's quite different from the book. But that's kind of like some cool backstory on that. So apparently after the film came out, Sylvester Stallone, the more I read about Stallone, the more I'm starting to think maybe this guy was like kind of very egocentric and very, I don't want to say he's a bully, but like kind of just did what he wanted and everybody else kind of had to follow from what I've read. Now that's apparently, that's not fact, but based on what I've read. So apparently he wanted, after the movie came out, he wanted the novel to be reissued, but list him as a co-writer of the book. And the writer of the book, Paula Gosling, said, no, we're not doing that. So I'm sure Sylvester was pretty upset by that, but the book was also made into another film, or a film adaptation, actually using the same name, starring Cindy Crawford and William Baldwin in 1995. I've heard that movie was not good. I have not seen that film, but that's another version of this story, apparently. So the film itself is very, very violent. It's very visceral. And apparently the film had to go through extensive cuts before it could make it to the movie theater because the violence was so extreme. The original cut that they submitted to the MPAA, they gave them an X rating, which is like real bad, like real extreme. So they had to go in and chop out a whole bunch of violent stuff. Apparently Stallone cut it out, or he wanted them to cut out a lot of stuff, but he didn't want them to cut his scenes out. So a lot of the stuff that ended up getting cut were not his scenes. So just to give you a little kind of idea on that. So anyway, they got it down to an R rating. The original runtime of this film was over 2 hours, and now it comes in at a cool 87 minutes. So there's a whole bunch of footage that's gone. And I was watching some other reviews on YouTube for this, and my understanding is that footage is gone. It's not coming back. There's not going to be like a super extended cut as far as I know. But I mean, sometimes they find lost footage years later. So maybe, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Brian Thompson, who, as I mentioned a few minutes earlier, was the actor who played the night slasher. I always want to say stalker, but he was a night slasher. He apparently had to audition for the film 7 times for the film. So God bless him. He finally landed the role after 7 auditions. Now, this is a bit of what I was just saying, but apparently Sylvester Stallone was very difficult to work with on the set. And he was complaining that the film was falling behind in production. As it turns out, I think it was the cinematographer was saying that apparently, again, allegedly, Stallone was spending a lot of time fooling around with his then wife, Bridgette Neilson, and he was apparently showing off to his bodyguards and stuff. I don't know exactly what that all entails. That was something I read on Wikipedia, so I don't know if it's true or not, but you could kind of imagine it, and the more I read about Stallone through the history of film, it's like, oh, maybe this guy was kind of a dingbat. But anyway, I don't know. I do love this film, and I do have a soft spot for Sylvester Stallone, even all that said. And he also, though, the one thing I read that kind of made me not happy was he said that George Cosmatos would have made a better producer than director. So I don't think that's very complimentary. And I mean, I don't know. Again, a lot of this is alleged. So the car that was featured in the film, which I don't think it's on the packaging itself. No. The car that was in the film was a 1951 Mercury. Apparently that car actually belonged to Sylvester Stallone, and I think they had 2 or 3 other dummies of the cars that they used in the crashes and things like that. Oh yeah, I actually cut something from the internet, a quote. So I didn't write down who the quote was from, but I think this was also from Wikipedia. It said that although no uncut version or director's cut has ever seen an official release, a time-coded work print sourced from poor quality VHS copies exists as a bootleg. It contains all of the X-rated scenes and uncut action sequences, along with scenes explaining the motives of the New Order gang, focusing on characters such as Night Slasher and Stalk. Alternate lines of dialogue and a temporary score which contains some of the songs and music from the theatrical version and pieces of scores from other movies, unquote. So there you go. The budget for the film was $25 million. It grossed $160 million at the box office, so it was considered a bit of a hit. Although I think those were lower incomes based or compared to Stallone's Rambo and Rocky franchises. There was apparently a sequel in the works, but it never came to fruition. This movie came out, I want to say, a week after the original Top Gun film as well. So there was some worry, I think, from the studio that this was just like, because Top Gun was, I mean, it wasn't like a gritty, violent action film, that this movie was like maybe too gritty and violent. So again, I think that may have played into the toning down of the content of the film and the violence and the gore and all that stuff. So apparently in 2019, Sylvester Stallone was interviewed, and he said that at the time there was a Cobra TV series that was being considered, and that Robert Rodriguez was being considered as a director creator. So that could be really cool if that was true. But the other thing I wanted to mention about this, because we're not too far away from Christmas. I mean, it's only just in the rear view mirror that we can see Christmas, and everybody goes on every Christmas, and it kind of makes me crazy, but is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Well, I got something to say, because I haven't heard anyone say anything about this movie. This movie is also set at Christmas, so I'm calling this a Christmas movie. And the funny thing is I just rewatched this about a week and a half ago, and I had forgotten that it was set at Christmas time. So I was like, oh, cool. Because I don't know about you, but I get kind of blue after Christmas. I find everybody's in such a rush to have Christmas, but then they're in such a rush to put it away. And for me, I like to let it linger a little while. Hence, I brought my Christmas tree back in my room for this video. So it was kind of cool to see this and not remember that it was set at Christmas time. So there's like a Toys R Us Christmas commercial in the movie, and it's just got a bit of nostalgia for me now. So anyway, so all those people arguing about Die Hard, it's like, I'm waiting. You guys can catch up to me. Cobra is a Christmas movie. Yeah, I said it. So the critical response to this film was not good. It currently holds an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not good. Although I think that's only like 22 reviews. So many critics thought this movie was weaker than Stallone's previous outings with Rambo and Rocky, which, I don't know, they're kind of different things. But anyway, director Nicholas Winding Refn is apparently a huge fan of this film. And as an homage, if you've seen the film Drive with Ryan Gosling, you'll notice that Ryan Gosling has a toothpick in his mouth throughout the whole movie. In this film, Sylvester Stallone has an unlit match in his mouth through the whole film. So that was Nicholas Winding Refn's homage to this film. And apparently Ryan Gosling is a big fan of it as well. And I definitely got some vibes there, like watching this. It's like, oh yeah, you can clearly see how this influenced that, among other films, which I'll get to in a second. But My thoughts on this film, I give this a 4.75 out of 5 all day long. Maybe even a 5 out of 5 for me. I really, really love this movie. I think it's really fun. If you like violent 80s action films with, just a badass lead character, Stallone, um, and Bridgette Nielsen's awesome in the film as well. The casting was great. The story's tight. It's just straight up kind of like gritty. Um, Definitely gives me like a Dirty Harry kind of vibes, like an updated Dirty Harry vibe. I actually watched this movie 2 nights in a row because I watched it the one night to do my review, and then the next night it was sitting on my TV stand, and I was like, you know what? Gosh darn it! I think I'm gonna actually watch this movie again. I just love this film. So I've seen this movie 3 times in the last 2 years, and I'm sure I'm gonna watch it a bunch of more times. It's really, really good. And the other cool thing is going back to Panos Cosmatos, you can clearly see the influence on Mandy when you watch this film, Panos' movie Mandy from 2018. You can clearly see some aesthetic choices that he was influenced by his father when doing that film. Definitely like there's like a biker. In Mandy, there is a 3-person biker gang. In this movie, near the end, a biker gang comes out, and they're all kind of in the shadows and very dark. And immediately, I was like, "Oh, that's definitely taken from this film." Um, and they're kind of like a cult, like the New Order cult in this film. It's very much like some of the stuff that is in Mandy with the group in there, the like the cult group that's in there. So it has some great one-liners. You can see on the front here it says, "Crime is a disease, meet the cure." And Stallone says that in the movie, like you're the disease and I'm the cure. And it's like the one-liners, kind of probably trying to capitalize on the Schwarzenegger thing with Terminator and that, but really, really cool. Music is great. It's like super 80s kind of rock. There's a montage scene actually not too far into the movie, which is really awesome. You don't see that a lot in films, but it has this real rock kind of anthem song, and then it's like this montage of him driving through the streets. And I think it also has like Bridgette Nielsen, and she's a model in the film, so it's like her doing these like this modeling shoot, and it's got this really great music, like really, really fun. So yeah, I love this movie. This edition is a DVD version from 1998. So this is actually a pretty early DVD. This is like just at the beginning of the DVD craze, late 90s, early 2000s DVD craze, when DVDs first came out. This edition has, for special features, a feature-length commentary with director George P. Cosmatos, rest in peace. It has a behind-the-scenes documentary, soundtrack remastered in Dolby Digital 5.1, theatrical trailers, and a bunch of language options for you. Here's the back of the DVD. Pretty cool. You see like Stallone in full action. The inside here, you can see there's another action shot. There's a big explosion. This is unfortunately a flipper disc, which I'm never a big fan of, but full screen on one side, widescreen on the other. They usually get pretty scratched up. But yeah, this is your old school snapper case for you younger folks out there who are just getting into collecting DVDs. So it's cardboard, and then it has this plastic holder. This is rated R. It's 87 minutes long. Beautiful. What else can I say about this? Not much, really, I think. It says, exciting. If you missed Rambo, Cobra is the cure. Check out that badassery right there. Yeah. No, it's really good. It kicks into high gear right out of the gate in the opening scene. There's a shootout at a grocery store with Cobra and a bad dude who's hurting innocent people at Christmas time, and it just like goes right into the action, like right out of the gate. and it doesn't let up. Super cool. There's a scene where he cuts a piece of pizza with a pair of scissors. Not entirely sure why he does that, but hey, it's Cobra. Don't question it. But yeah, there's some really awesome stuff in this movie, and like I said, with the dude that plays the bad guy, and I've forgotten his name already, but Brian Thompson. He plays a bad guy in this movie, the Night Slasher, and he is so creepy in this movie, like so good. Yeah, I think I've spelled it out pretty clearly for you that I really like this movie. I would even go so far as to say I love this movie. Definitely going to be revisiting it again over the years, and I'd be curious to hear if anyone out there has seen it, what your thoughts are on it. It is ultra violent, and it did get a lot of criticism for that. So if you don't like that, or if that upsets you, probably avoid this one. But yeah, you can rent it on Amazon Prime, Cineplex, YouTube, and on Apple TV. I did not find this streaming for free anywhere, so and I do not see this out and around very much anymore. I think I had it on VHS once, and then I upgraded it to DVD and got rid of the VHS. And I have not seen this again in the 2 years that I've had this. So I don't know how rare it is. Like I just don't see it around much, but definitely highly recommend this. So if you have seen this, leave your comments below what you thought of the film, if you liked it, if you didn't like it. Give me the thumbs up if you like this review. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Follow me over on Instagram at Night Owl Video. I usually post when videos are going to drop and things like that. And yeah, until next time, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you out at the video store or out at the thrift store, or just out and about somewhere. But I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great Christmas and a great New Year. And like I said, I'm continuing to enjoy the holiday vibes well into January. I don't care what all you Scrooges say. Heck, we put so much work into it, and then we just like want to put it all away. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So anyway, thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.